preparing to go live. All right, let me gonna put up the theme music and we'll get this thing started.
I'll give you the hair tie right off of my wrist. I'll turn it up if you play Taylor Swift. I'll gas you up when you're acting unhinged. If you're done, if you're pissed, I'll help you burn down a bridge. I'm an always got time for my girls, girl. Wherever you are in the world, girl, I'll be right there when you call me up. If you need to cry or wanna get drunk, I'll be your number one hype girl. I got your back in a fight, girl. Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Yeah, there ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Hey. Woo! Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl.
Hey, 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 it is Tuesday night. You are here with the Hurricane Girls on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls, WHTR Radio, Hurricane Girls Radio, and later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, Category 5 Hurricane Girl, here with my besties tonight. And what a week. It's been everything happening. My daughter's in the hospital right now. Shout out to Sam if you're listening. Sam, I hope you're doing okay. Just a crazy bunch of days here, but I am always filled back up when I get to hang out with my girlies here. So I am here tonight with Hurricane Mary, salty historian from the great state of, and that's your signature there. How are you
Oh,
tonight?
I'm always good when it's Tuesday because y'all brighten my life.
I love it. I love it. And with us today, and also our next episode special guest, Hurricane Abby, author of The Year of Dating Myself, soon to be released from Simon and Schuster. And gosh, we're celebrating that next week. I can't believe it already is here.
I can't either. I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants, played a whole bunch of whack-a-mole with the publicist, but by the same token, that's a good problem to have because it means the publicist is doing a really good job helping me like get the word out there. So, yay.
I, one thing we said when we first heard about this book is who's doing the audiobook? Do we know yet?
While it will not be me, I did get to essentially like digitally audition some of the voice actresses. The person we picked, I do forget her name right now. I'm sure it's somewhere in my emails. You one listen and I was like, she's it. She's got the vibe. My editor agreed. I'm not sure when the release for the audiobook will be happening, but there is an audiobook in the works.
I love it. It's just sad it's not you, but I'm sure
I'm
whoever it is will
devastated
do the
it's
thing.
not you.
Yes. I mean, and I would have auditioned if I had known, because
Me too. I definitely would
I
have been
get the
all over
feeling there
that.
was a set number of like a set group that they pulled from,
I
like a
imagine
kind
I
of
imagine
people.
they have agencies for that sort of thing. And just I'm saving her for last here today because we're gonna pick on her a lot tonight. Hurricane Sim is in the house from the great state of Illinois. How are you tonight, my darling?
Um, I'm excited and a little scared. We'll see what happens.
Okay. The reason for that is because in the box to my other side here is our special guest of the night, Jenny. Is it Milien? Is that how we say your
It
name?
is.
All right,
Yep.
Jenny Milien, like $1 million here. Jenny
Yep.
Milien, who is, among other things, our own Hurricane Cimarron's sister. So that is probably one of her highest and most difficult accomplishments, I would imagine. Um, yeah, but also formerly of the Lingerie Football League and currently in involved in a lot of corporate stuff that we might talk about because some of us need help finding a job here later. But we're here to just talk, jam, just hang out and do what we do. We are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage. We are the goddess's curse on mediocre men and nature's happy little accidents. So we are here today. I do want to let you know we are provisionally accredited by the Creator Accountability Network. Visit creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. Someday they may have a shorter name, so I don't have to keep saying it, but that is the website. They are here to keep us from doing too much fuck shit to harm the community. If anything that you hear you feel causes harm, you can certainly go there. They will mediate between us and try to make it right. We are proud to be members of the Creator Accountability Network. All of us got certified. I think almost all of us are certified at this point. So the whole show should be on the website soon. I do want to let y'all know coming up in the coming weeks, we are at the end of June. It is Pride Month, by the way. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Happy Pride.
We'll be doing a little segment on that here in the second hour, but going on into July, it's halfway through the year. Um, we've got a lot of amazing guests coming on. I've been in talks with various guests like the North Omaha Cat Lady. We've been talking. I got a text from Shira, y'all, from Melindy Brett, the voice actor of the original She-Ra cartoon. I'm super stoked about that, but I'm not getting my hopes up because I still got to get through publicists. But yeah, we've been talking to people, got a tentative commitment from Renee Bell from Gilmore Girls, and we've got a couple of others coming up. In October, we're going to get to see Miss Emily again. We'll get to see Miss Andrea is going to come on and be here in the middle of October. We will be in the month of July. We're going to be hearing from Ellie from the band The Cancellations. And we've also got a steady commitment for Betty Moritz from Gold Steps, an incredible pop punk band out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We might have a special guest that night. I'm trying to get Courtney from Definitely Maybe to be on that show too. So they're good friends. So hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. Millionaire Melly is going to be with us on the 15th. And then next week, our own Abby Rose Marin with the year of dating myself. So we got a great bunch of shows coming up, but we're here tonight with Hurricane Jenny. Now, when Sim first told me about you, she was like, "Here, look at this video clip," and I'm like, "Okay, what am I looking at? Lingerie Football League, right?" It's I be honest, I never really watched it before. But tell me a little bit about that and what that was like, because that was the thing she led with.
So, wow, the LFL. So I at the time was in Atlanta, and in Atlanta they had, we'll call it like a micro LFL. There was a small group of people who played like kind of like a flag tackle football, and a group of us heard about them starting an LFL team in Orlando, and we were like, oh, that's maybe like a 4-hour drive. Like, let's go down, we'll check it out. And at the time, I was personal training and didn't have any like major commitments to the area. So we drove down there and tried out. And it was like a really football, like hardcore sprinting, the drills, like everything was the football aesthetic. But you also got judged on how you looked in a sports bra and shorts. That was definitely a component. But ultimately, the coaches that were there, I mean, were critiquing how you played football, how you caught the ball, how you ran routes. And ultimately, I made the team along with maybe 2 other girls from Atlanta. And so then the logistical nightmare of, okay, well, my whole life is in Atlanta. I actually made this team. What am I going to do now that I have actually made this team? And they told us initially they were going to pay us. They were like, you're going to get paid. There's going to be compensation for the time that you're playing and practicing and all of that. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do that, and I'll pick up some jobs down here. And initially, I will live with my grandma, who lived an hour away from Orlando. So I was like, oh, easy peasy. I'll just drive back and forth. Well, that lasted for like 6 seconds when I was down in Florida. Driving an hour back and forth to practices was awful. And I was still driving back up to Atlanta to go take care of my cats that were with my roommate. So ultimately, I took my cats back up to our mom's house and moved to Florida, moved in with a couple of my brand new teammates who still lived at home with their parents. So it was literally them adopting me into their home to start this tackle football league. And it was so fun until I realized they weren't going to pay us. And so we were practicing, and they're like, okay, well, after your first game, like, we will calculate how much you guys get paid based on the attendance versus costs. Like, you'll get a % of profit after cost. And that never happened. Never happened. So at that point, kept playing because they kept promising, you guys are going to get paid, you're going to get paid. And it was fun. I mean, the girls were great. The coaches were great. And they were like, yeah, we have insurance if someone gets hurt, and we'll pay you. So I'm like, all right, this on top of like a little part-time job, I'll be set. And ultimately, the only time I received any compensation was I actually made the all-star team my first season. So I made the all-star team, went to Canada for a game out in Canada, and I was compensated for that. It was maybe like $500 for everything, basically for the whole season. And silly me, they were like, season number 2, you want to do it again? And I was like, sure, let's do it again. And not only did I do it again, I was like, I want to get more heavily involved so I can use this as some sort of platform for something, either for a future career somehow. So at the time, they were like, we need people to officially adopt like the marketing manager responsibilities, like marketing the team, going to bars, like trying to get them involved with sponsorships and ticket sales. So I was like, oh, that would be something to put on a resume, like marketing coordinator, marketing something. But they gave 0 resources, 0 support, 0 direction. So ultimately, I mean, I played another season and got to the end of the season, and the last game of the season, we had a girl on our team who got hurt, but not any worse than probably any other injuries during the season. The owner of the league had a headset on, connected to the refs, like connected to the referees' headsets, and told the referees to tell us we had to take that player out of the game. And she was the best player on the field, by far. So they made her come out of the game, and ultimately me, one of the other coaches are like toe-to-toe screaming at the owner of this league that he is sabotaging us. And almost instantly I got blackballed from everything. They did a huge all-star like travel series. So they took the all-stars from the previous season on this big travel experience, like to Australia and all this stuff. And I was the number one receiver in the league for touchdowns, yards, catches, and I did not go. I did not get an invitation. I was not asked to come, and I saw the writing on the wall at that point that one, they decided to shut down the Orlando team because my coach at the time also had been speaking up about the atrocities of them basically sabotaging what would have been the game that like sent us to the playoffs. And they blackballed him and ultimately shut our Orlando team down completely, and then did not invite me to the All-Star events after the season. So the team disbanded. There were girls who played and they ended up having a team in Atlanta, and some of them went back to Atlanta. Some of them went to some of the other teams that still existed. But from my understanding, they rebranded a couple of times, and I think the end of it was back in 2019.
Okay. Well, that sounds like you got a really raw deal there. I mean, for someone who, I kept hearing on the telecast that I was shared with me is this very soft hands, creates a lot of space. Apparently you were good at it,
Mm-hmm.
so but to not play the politics of the game
Yeah,
yeah,
that was my
that
mistake.
sounds way too much like corporate America, honestly.
So the owner of the league before the LFL was on he was on a show. It was some dating show, and he looked exactly like the tool bag that you would expect him to. Mitch Mortaza. Oof. If you just put him in your Google, anyone who's got their Google up right now, and you see the images that pop up, you're going to be like, yep, that's
Wait, how did you
about
spell that
right.
name?
So it's Mitch, Mitch, and then last name Mortaza, Mortaza. He'll be
Okay.
exactly who you expect him to be.
I don't even have a drink in front of me, and I tried to cover my drink looking at those photos.
Yeah.
Honestly, he looks like he should be on the cover of a Monster Energy drink. Like,
Yeah.
that's
And I can't remember what show he was on.
I don't know, but there was undoubtedly some BDSM involved looking at
Yeah.
these pictures.
It it was everything you would have expected for someone who started a league like this. And ultimately, like, they did rebrand to change the uniforms to make them like less revealing, like make it a little bit less about the
Mhm.
like sexuality portion. Because we played on indoor turf and got horrible turf burns. Like I have Alana and I have a matching tattoo. I have the tattoo is on my side, and at the time they did not allow tattoos. So tattoo makeup has come very far
Very far.
from
Yeah.
back 15 years ago. And man, the makeup I tried to put on this tattoo, like what a joke to like make that a big point for them. Like, no tattoos showing. I wasted so much makeup trying to cover these big old tattoo pieces, and then
Mhm.
still you could see them. Like, oh, but
This man looks like he was the third member of Milli Vanilli, though, honestly. He looks like a guy who would start a football league to try to find a girlfriend.
so he dated a girl who ultimately like did some kind of like operations work within the league. So yes, did she come after the LFL or before? Who knows? I don't think they're still together. But she was involved directly with the league.
Are you still a Southern girl now, or have you moved out of the South?
So I'm in Virginia, so technically I'm in the South.
Yeah,
Technically.
you still count.
But yeah, but I mean, Northern Virginia is way different than Southern Virginia. So at least in that regard, I'm 30 minutes outside of DC. So for the most
Yeah.
part, I don't see too much of like what would be considered what I saw in like Atlanta or Florida. A little
I
bit more closely resembles Michigan.
I live in northern Ohio, almost Michigan, and I still feel like I'm in the South sometimes. Oof, we actually have sundown towns up here. Still sundown
Yeah.
towns.
Yep.
Yeah, it's something else, especially these days. Things are wild. Um, running down the middle of the streets of the small town Ohio, and they are festooned with very generic houses with blue signs for Trump in the front of them. Uh, it's not even election year, guys. That's over. He can't run again. Take the sign down, please. But no, no, they don't. But I mean, this was obviously an interesting chapter in your life, but it's definitely not all of what you've done. I can tell, like after, you mean you were in your prime, you were fit, you were out there able to model lingerie. I mean, hey, like that's I struggle with my leftist friends and my liberal friends. My liberal friends are always like lingerie football league, that's objectifying women. That's it's marketing women's bodies. And I'm like, and my friends on the other side is like, no, fuck no. Like girl power. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to use what nature has given me, and I'm going to use it. And well, in this case, it didn't take money off of the man, but at least you did some
Right.
things with it. What would you consider like your big takeaways from your time doing that, though?
I mean, I know that there were girls who used the platform to really like excel a social media presence.
Hmm.
And as much as I liked being on social media, I never truly bought into that. It was
Hmm.
just something I probably could have done better to capitalize on that. Um, if I were to have done it, like if it were to be done differently, one, I would have I would have gotten a contract in place. Like obviously hindsight 2020, I should have gotten something more formally in writing, reviewed by someone who represented me and not just the company, um, so that I could have benefited a little bit more financially. Like, was it fun? Yes. Did it become very stressful at times because it was 3 or 4 days a week of practices, if not more, in Florida in the heat? People did get hurt. I mean, there was just so much time and energy that I invested that, yes, it was a lot of fun, but do I wish I would have gotten a little bit more out of it? Yeah.
Sure. I want to rewind a little bit farther past that because of the person sitting next to me
This is where
here.
I get
Mm-hmm.
scared.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, because I've had two of my relatives on this show before for different reasons. I've had my sister's the chief of nursing at a big hospital in Memphis, and I've had my aunt who's a doctor in theology. But here, when our very own Hurricane Simi Sim said, hey, my sister would be great for the show, we were like, mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'll just tell you how we know her. It's like Sim is everybody's big little sister, and or little big sister, however you want to look at it. But she is definitely the heart that you go to when you're hurting. Always someone who's willing to put your needs above her very own, to her own fucking detriment sometimes. And like we definitely have. I've grown to like I've known her for a year or two now, and have grown to appreciate her for what she for who she is. But we only know this adulty side of Sim, and I am wanting to hear the tea on our lovely Miss Cimarron here. What was growing up with this bitch like?
You mean when she's like, run my fingers over,
bad. What?
Wait, what?
torture me, need a wheelchair, run my fingers
Lies.
over?
Lies.
So I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, I feel like you'd be better giving a perspective on what it was like when I was born, being 14 years old, because those first, I mean, 4 years, you had a really good perspective on what it was like having a little sister, being 14, and everything like that. I mean, my images are like when we used to travel together and when we got a little bit older. So I'd
Yeah,
be
I
curious what
think,
your thoughts are.
I mean, there's 14 years difference between me and my sister. And, we had very different upbringings. And there was a lot of different dynamics that were just very different. We have different fathers. Um, and my mom was 26 when she had me. She was 40 when she had my sister. So she was able to do different things with her career to, I think, kind of cater her parenting style with Jennifer, which was really nice. Whereas, when I grew up, we were, she was putting herself through school and things like that. And so there was moves associated with her career and things. And so, Jennifer, I think, was able to really kind of have that stability, like, having one house she grew up in, which is fantastic, right? That's the goal, trying to have as minimal movement as possible. But I mean, I think before I went to college, yeah, Jennifer and I had 4 years together. And I think for me, there was maybe a half second of adjustment in terms of like, okay, I'm 14 years being an only child. Now I have a little sister. I'm not quite sure what to do with this because now she's the center of attention. Um, and but I think that was quickly overridden by just this sense of protection, that I came into because I was the big sis and I had to, it was my job to look out for her and as much as I could. Um, I enjoyed the little things before I went to college. I enjoyed, watching her learn how to walk and learn how to talk. And, you know, I I remember one time when she was talking, she hadn't been talking for too long, but I like I said, I was 14 when she was born. So I was probably maybe 16 at the time when this happened. But my mom our mom had prepared us for me for a long time, saying, listen, you've got to watch your cursing because I don't want Jenny to pick up anything from you. Okay, mom. Yes, I got it, mom. I got it. So this one particular time, right, we're
I
both
got
laughing,
it,
going,
Mom.
okay.
Fuck. Oh my God.
Well, so this one time, I remember mom was making dinner and she was carrying some heavy pot of something, maybe spaghetti or something, from the kitchen to the dining room, and something happened. She tripped over the dog or something. I don't remember what happened. She tripped and the pot fell, and hot things went everywhere, and um
Oh my gosh.
here's my mom shelling out the God damn it, da, 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 da. And for the next 10 minutes, here goes my 2-year-old sister, 3-year-old sister going, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I just looked at my mom and I said nothing. I just looked at her.
I love
you
it.
know. So for the record, I was not the one that taught her, that I did not introduce that to her.
Listen, I reminded of my own daughter Hermie, who would just walk around like she would hear me say fucking, she'd hear me say shit, and then she'd just walk around the house going shit, shit, shit. Her favorite expression for the longest time was "helly shit, helly shit." She made that one up all by herself. She loved it. I loved it.
I
So
think
you
another
taught your younger sister how to swear. We've got that, yeah. Or mom taught her.
mom taught her. Mom taught her. I had no
As
responsibility for that. I another one of my favorite memories, I think, was, I don't remember if this was when I went down to college, like that initial time, or one of the trips, but mom and Jennifer had come down, um and to Southern Illinois when I went to college, and it was storming, and things of that, thundering and things like that. And Jennifer was at that age where, she was not a fan. She was not a fan of the thunder and the lightning, and so I told her, I said, listen, I said, nothing's going to hurt you. I'll protect you. I'll keep you safe. I love you. You're going to be fine, right? It's nothing's going to hurt you. I've got you. And so, and my mom told me later on when they got, after the drive and they got back home, she said, I just want you to know that at one point the thunder got loud and mom was checking in on Jennifer, going, are you okay? And, da, da, da. And she's like, I'm not scared. My sister's going to protect me. And that was like, that meant so much to me, even that at that little age that she had conceptualized that, I was her safe place, that I was still going to be her protector. And those are memories like that. Like we didn't have the ability to have, after I left for college, like, a lot of exchanges and things. But, I think I really tried to make those moments count with her growing up. I think we've had the advantage, I think, as an adult, thank God, with technology and things like that, I think we've gotten a lot closer in a lot of ways. But I have fun memories. In fact, I was actually prepping the show for tonight and I found an old letter that I'd written to my husband when I went to college. My sister was 6 at the time. I'll read you just a snippet of it. I was writing to my husband and I said, so my mom and my stepdad went out to dinner, and I agreed to watch Jennifer so long as I could invite a friend over. So he and I sat and watched Jennifer. And I said, and then the strangest thing happened. Jennifer sat on my lap. She looked at me and gave me a hug. I said, but then she just started to cry. And when I asked her what was wrong, she said she didn't want me to go back to school. And I said, she looked so sad. I didn't know what to say to her. I told her that even when I go back to school, she'll still be in my heart and in my heart. I told her that I loved her and that she could call me anytime. I told her that if I wasn't home, I would call her back. And this was 93. So you would have been like 6 at the time, and it's like, little things like that. And it's just, and the irony is I'm looking back at this letter I written my husband, literally the next day is, I'm not spending another minute in here. Jennifer barged into my room this morning to tell me to get my butt out of bed so she could use the computer.
Yep, sounds about right.
Listen, you cannot hold on to those special moments too long. Kids that age
right.
they're gonna wreck it.
Well,
They're
I
gonna
mean,
go
that
for
was
it.
back that was in the early 90s. So you didn't have things like laptops and things like that, So we had one computer and it was in the guest room where I was staying because, again, I was at
Yeah.
college and they had a different house by that point. So I didn't have my own room. In the house they moved into, I stayed in the guest room whenever I was there. So yeah, they decided they wanted to use the computer and it was time for me to get up and I'm like, okay then.
I can literally hear in my head the sound those computers made back then. I can hear I
Right,
can hear the dial-up
Getting the
right.
here.
internet dial-up, yep.
Yes, I can. I'm the PTSD of being like, is it gonna connect? Is it gonna connect? And then I'm like, cool, it's connected. Now I have to load a web page. I'm gonna go make a sandwich. I'll be back.
Right, exactly.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's crazy now because I have no patience with the computers these days because if I sit down and something doesn't boop, pop right up to me, um,
I assume it's broken. I'm like, it's
right.
Same,
broken.
right.
I'm
On to
already
the
on the
next one.
phone. I'm already on the phone calling myself at Apple, but I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with this piece of shit? And it's like, and then my internet company will call me and be like, "Hey, Miss Chappelle, do you want things to load in 1 millisecond or in 1/10 of a millisecond?" And I'm like, "By God, 1/10 of a millisecond right now. I need it faster."
Is
Like
that really a question? Come on
how
now.
much like at this point it's faster than reality can happen.
Right.
Like the resolution on these computer screens is more than my eyes. Like
Definitely.
yeah, no, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but yes, I can kind of see now where Sim gets her motherly instincts for all of us because you are the matriarch of this group. I'm sorry to point this out. You are old. You're old.
Oh, oh,
You're
oh.
extremely old and geriatric and senile, but we
Okay, bitch,
appreciate
I'm
you.
only like 3 years older than you. Like, The
What are you
fuck?
talking about? I'm 28. I'm the baby of the group.
Oh, you were such a liar.
28
Such
plus
a
20
good
is 48, right? It counts.
Sure, sure.
Right. No, Abby literally is the baby of the group right now. Me and Mary are sitting here at twinsies.
Which is wild because
Yeah.
I'm closing in on 39, and that feels very just not the baby.
Not the no, I mean, yeah, no. Is that hitting 40? I don't know how old you are, Jenny, but like you're
38.
38. Okay, so yeah, there you're in the same boat. But that like turning 30 didn't feel like a damn thing. Like it was just like 29.2, you know? But like 40, I'm like, oh wow, there are parts of my body that don't respond anymore.
Honestly, the
Man,
one
So
the injuries I've had, like since having the two kids, hurt my knee so bad I had to get it drained with like they had to take a syringe, pull a bunch of fluid out of my knee. You know what I was doing? Picking my kid up off the bed. Literally picked him up, pushed off the bed, and all of a sudden, 2 days later, I'm getting fluid drained out. I can't move my leg on crutches with a 6-month-old. I was like, this is what getting old is? I was like, this is horrible.
I was about to say,
yeah,
like, I got a warning from one of my friends who's about 5 years older than me, and this is, about like 10 years, or I guess 5 years back. They're like, listen, you think you get injured easily now. 36, 37, you're going to hit this threshold and you're going to get seriously injured from living. I'm like, no, I'm already getting injured from living. Then I hit 37. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting seriously injured from living. Bullshit.
it's ridiculous. It's
No, absolutely.
like I'm thinking of Jenny back in the LFL days, like just hitting that artificial turf and just like putting a little makeup on it and walking it off. And then
Man,
now, like, and I used to do that. I used to run 3 miles a day. If I fell down, I was just like, oh, that sucks. You get the dirt off and then walk it off. But now I get injured in my fucking sleep.
yep.
But
So I
she's
played
still,
flag
listen, I have to,
football for, go ahead, Alana.
no, I was just gonna say, I have to give it to my sister because, she's always had fitness being her priority, ever since she was young. It's always been that. And I think that that's definitely helped her. I mean, even throughout her pregnancies. I mean, I saw so many countless videos while she was pregnant of her, putting in the effort and the time, with the working out and
That's
things. And
amazing.
yeah, I mean, she crushed it. I mean, she made a damn good looking pregnant woman. I mean, and she, naturally anyway. But I mean, just the fact that she worked so hard to keep her body and her health a priority throughout that. I have so much respect for that. And I think the biggest injury you had, Jennifer, wasn't even. It was after LFL, wasn't that the ankle?
Yeah. So my patella tendon. So I
Oh
was
yeah.
playing flag football. So I picked up flag football after tackle football, and man, I loved it. I was still in the stage of my 20s where I felt invincible. I had never had really like a major injury besides like broken hand, stress fracture from running when I was younger, like nothing major. So I felt invincible. Played flag football. I was like, oh, they can't really hit you. Like, all right, man, I played in a tournament and it was like a 2-part injury. So the first part was I jumped up, landed funny, and my knee kind of did this like tweak tweak thing. And I was like, oh, that's not good, but it feels okay. So I'll just, warm up and I could still run around. And the next game, I'm running straight down the field, and a bystander who told me about it after the fact was basically like, it looked like you had been sniped out of the sky. No one was
Oh
around
God.
me. I was running straight, and my knee just boom, fell out on the
That's
field, couldn't move, and it didn't hurt, but I knew something was very, very wrong. And this guy comes over and he like pulls my like leggings up and looks at my knee and he's like, oh, it looks like it's dislocated. Do you want me to try and put it back? And I was like, are you a doctor? And he was like, well, I'm an EMT. He said, listen, I think it was an EMT. And I was like, hard pass.
No, thank you.
No,
Right.
thank you.
No.
I was like, someone take me to the hospital, because I was 26 and was not on my parents' insurance anymore, and I did not have insurance. So I was like, I don't have the money to get an ambulance. I cannot finance this. Someone take me to the hospital. Well, the reason I was in this tournament was it was a company that I was providing like personal training services for. So the owner of the company was like the one who invited me to play in this tournament, and he was the one who was like, get an ambulance. We will help you throughout the costs of this event since you did it here. Okay, fine. Call the ambulance. They call it. They go to the hospital, and that was when it started really hurting. Like, they started helping me like move from the bed to the bed, and man, there was a level of pain that so in childbirth, I never had to go through that. I ended up in 2 C-sections and it didn't hurt at all. But this is what I would have equivocated to like having a child. It hurt so bad. And then the doctor comes over before they've done any kind of MRI or X-ray or anything. That's like, hey, I want to run a test. I was like, ooh, tell me about this test. And he was like, I want you to scoot over the side of the bed, and we're just going to drop your leg over the side. And I was like, I'm not going to run that test.
No,
So I
sir.
was like, I already know the results. The results are it's going to hurt a lot, and we're not going to do that. And good thing, because my patella tendon had ripped off my tibia and was sitting in my quadricep. So had we done that, it would have probably shot even further up my quadricep.
Ow.
So yeah, ultimately, the fun fact about that event is the owner of the company, in fact, did not pay the ambulance bill, nor did they pay any of the other medical bills that they said they were going to help me with.
Oh, no.
So I got a fat bill for maybe like $45,000 for the surgery to fix my tendon and the surgeon and the hospital and da-da-da-da-da. Well, the nice thing about this particular hospital in Florida is if you are uninsured, the hospital will cut 50% off the bill, like off that. But still, I was sitting looking at like $30,000 bill. At the time, I was maybe still like waitressing and working at GNC, the vitamin shop, like something like that. So I'm like, they were like, we can put you on a payment plan. It'd just be a $500 a month payment plan. I was like, if I had $500 a month, I would have had insurance.
Right.
Right.
I would have not been in this situation. So very stressed out. Basically, my mom was like, pay what you can, do what you can. And couldn't work because I was also still personal training at the time. I couldn't do that. I couldn't waitress. I couldn't do anything. And I applied for this like assistance thing, and they're basically like, prove how poor you are, and we'll see if we'll give you any money for your medical bills. And so I sent them all my tax documents, like sent them at the time, like what I was making, and then I didn't have insurance, and I was not being claimed as a dependent at that point. And probably like a month-ish later, maybe like 6 weeks, I got an email that was like, hey, we approved you and we're paying all your bills. And they paid for everything. It was one of those like, I got to reassess everything, get insurance. Like, it was definitely a moment in my life where I was like, I've got to get things back in order because I can never let this happen to me again.
Right.
And I flag football. I did still play flag football after that. Like, that's actually how my husband and I met, was playing flag. And probably the past like 5 years is when I stopped. Just was like getting older, going back to like the whole getting older thing. I was like, my knees hurt every time I step on a flag football field. I'm not even playing, and it hurts when I step out there.
Well, you know,
getting older sucks.
It's funny because I feel like those guys who are running those leagues, I'm sure that a lot of them are men and some women too, but the from what I understand, from what I hear all the time on the news, it's transgender women that are the danger in football that are keeping that are hurting women, and
in
meanwhile
sports,
the
taking
fucking
over
leagues,
sports.
the LFL won't pay you. The flag football league is not going to help you take care of your injuries, but definitely definitely the fact that there is a AMAB player on the team, that's probably
Right.
gonna destroy you.
And it amazes me that it comes up so often. And I'm still very active in the community. My husband still plays. He travels regularly for tournaments, and I've never been to a tournament where that like has come up. And I'm like, where do you guys think this is? Like, where's the takeover? Like, I would love to be there. I'd love to see it. Like, where's the takeover that you guys are talking about of trans women athletes who are just coming and trying to dominate women's flag football? Like,
Right. Well, I was a cross country runner in high school at the peak of my physical fitness. And me running 3 miles a day every day for my entire life, to the point that I graduated, I still had women on the track team who would smoke me like a roach. I mean, just like absolutely just slide. Yeah, like I'd be balls out running, excuse the terminology, and just these little powder puffs are running right past me. Like, it's such a dumb thing. It's such a dumb thing to worry about.
yeah.
And like you said, you're not seeing it anywhere. You're not you're not seeing this be a
Well,
problem.
especially for sports, like I feel like the loudest voices are in like track and swimming and sports where
Mhm.
it's like you do realize, I mean, your time is your time. Like it doesn't matter if you came in eighth place or 21st place. If your time is fast, colleges are going to see you. It doesn't matter how you placed or if you went to states, they're going to be like, at a race, you got
Mhm.
such and such time, which would place you here in our school or here amongst our team. So it's so silly to me that such loud voices come specifically from sports where it is so easy to say like it doesn't matter what the person to your left or to your right does. If you produce good times, like you will get picked up. Because I feel like a lot of the argument is my child was not going to make it or not going to go to this team or not going to go to this thing because this person beat them. It's like no, if they had a good enough time, they would be there. They'd make it to the next level. A team will see them. A coach will see them because your time is your time. It doesn't matter.
Mm. But hey, you tied for fifth place with four other cis women
Right.
beating you, and you would probably be serving pancakes in a Waffle House right now. But you got to make your whole personality be a sore loser. Yeah, fuck you, Riley Gaines. Honestly, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like seriously, but the fact of the matter is that you have the people who are hurting women in women's sports are people like Larry Nassar,
Yeah.
who are
Right.
actually legitimately sexually assaulting women, uh, people, who are not taking care of the athletes, not, leaving them out in to dry. It's and the people who watch these they don't watch women's sports. I've asked so many people. Right. I've asked so many people when they come up to me and be like, well, what about trans women in women's sports? I'm like, name me. Okay, we're taking Leah Thomas, Riley Gaines, all of those off the table. Name me three NCAA women's athletes in any sport. They never can do it. Like, name me your favorite WNBA player, and or name me four teams that are not in your region, and
Well,
they
and
and they
Sheila,
never
with
can.
that, I
Yeah.
volunteer every season at MSU, Michigan State University. because that's how we earn band money. And to go and see the way that they hype up men's teams, it is an entire fucking event. But let it be a
Yeah.
women's team, and they get the B cheerleaders. There's the mascot is barely dressed, and they have 10 fans in the stands because there's no publicity about it. But then you have
Mm-hmm.
these football players that can barely read, making all of this money and getting these deals to go to the NFL or whatever the fuck. And people like screaming from their chairs that can't run a mile. That anyway, that men are so good at this. But for fuck's sake, sorry, my salty little heart is getting riled up over here.
Yes, please get riled up. That's what we're here
So
for.
okay, since I opened my big fat mouth. So first off, Jenny, how the fuck dare you do anything other than appeal to a male's gaze?
I know,
Seriously.
right?
I know.
Like, and then second to that end, I have two questions. First off, did you have more men or women as fans? And then second, since this was clearly a league geared towards men being able to drool, did you ever encounter guys who took it over the top and made you incredibly uncomfortable and regret being a part of that?
That's a good question.
So first question, definitely more men. And at the time, so Facebook was obviously established at that point, but it was still like the preferred platform to promote yourself. And so the league really pushed us to like promote ourselves on Facebook and push our likeness out on Facebook. So I did get a very large influx of like fans who like friend requested me that still to this day like exist in like the background of my Facebook profile, I assume. And occasionally there were ones that would message, show up to games, like nothing that was probably like scary or like concerning, but definitely ones that were like, whoa, like you travel around to these games, like, and know the girls, and bless our hearts, like we needed people to be interested. But nobody necessarily, fortunately for me, from like a fan perspective, I did not experience anything that was like really bad. So the LFL did a spread in Playboy.
Oh.
And two of my teammates were in it. I can't remember who all else was in it. I think there was like 8, maybe 10 girls across the league. And if you Google LFL Playboy spread, I'm sure something would come up. I bet they probably encountered more because obviously like they did a bare it all expose in Playboy. But I was fortunate that that either because of my lack of how I promoted myself, I did not get anything that was like the super ick. Do I think it would be different today? Yeah. Like the way social media is now and the different platforms and the reach and the boldness that people have online now, I do think that would probably be very different, and I would likely reconsider because of that if I were to do it in today's world.
Yeah, I can tell you from my transition, you don't have to do anything but sign up on Facebook and you're getting dick pics. Like
I
it's
have
it's
not gotten
coming.
one. I have not gotten one.
Me neither.
Never
I,
in my
I
life have
can
I gotten an unsolicited
I
one.
can share with you if you need it.
No,
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 Like,
because
if
then
you
it's
would
not
like some.
unsolicited.
I keep
It's
them
not
in a
unsolicited,
file. I keep
but
them in
that's
a
not
file
unsolicited.
so I can return. I figure if a guy sends me a dick pic, we must be trading, so I just send him one back.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
I mean, it's a fair exchange
I'll
as
show
far
you
as
mine
I
if you show
That's
me yours.
fair.
right. Like, no, I'll be happy to swap with you, but like, and especially if you get like if because Google is such a thing. Like, if you get a really deformed one, you know. Just yeah.
Oh my
It's always
gosh.
fun because they're always like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Exactly, exactly." Now, do you understand consent? I think you do.
Exactly.
But yeah, as soon as I signed up on Facebook, it was men messaging me left and right, and it wasn't always the dick pics, but it was always something inappropriate. I think within my first month or so of my first month or so of Facebook, I had already caused one divorce because I I s- I s- I mean there's this guy. He messaged me. It was nice at first. I was like, okay, I'll keep chatting with you. And then I was like, no, you're married. I know you're married. So I checked his profile and there was his wife. And I was like, okay, screenshot. Here you go. And every year on the anniversary of the divorce decree, she texts me and is like, thank you for my new life. And I'm like, you're welcome, sweetheart. You are goddamn welcome. It's a crazy social media these days is a fucking shit show. It's crazy.
So I don't know if anybody on here is in any of these groups on Facebook. So there's groups called Are We Dating the Same Guy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're different localities. So obviously like I'm not dating anyone's guy. I got my husband, but like my friends were talking about it and I was like, I want to see the tea. Like I need to see what all these people are talking about in my area. Like wouldn't it be hilarious if somebody I knew popped up on one of these pages? Wouldn't that be funny? Well, there's been two instances now. So the first one is the day I joined this group. I shit you not, the day I joined. The first day I'm scrolling through the group like la 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 la. What is this group all about? Bam. See this guy, and not only do I know him, his fiance goes to and works at the gym that my husband and I go to. She works there. And it is this long post about him and his escapades with multiple women, like kinky shit, like all kinds of stuff. This was like, it lays it all out there. And they're like, and we know that he's got a fiance and she won't believe us because there's multiple people. Like they don't believe us. And this post had been up for maybe like 4 hours. So I'm telling you the coincidence of me joining this group and this post coming up and seeing this post, I am like talking to my husband like, this is outrageous. What do I do? What do I do? So I screenshot the post, sent it to a couple of our mutual female friends, also from the gym, and it turned into this huge thing. She quit her job at the gym. Basically, they went AWOL. The two
Oh
of
my
them
God.
went AWOL. We were supposed to be going to her. I can't remember if it was like a bridal shower or a bachelorette party. It was something that I was supposed to be going to, and she canceled it last minute with my understanding that, okay, I guess the wedding is off, and they just disappeared, just poof,
Oh
into
my
the night.
gosh. That's
And we were
incredible.
all sitting around wondering, like, did they get married? Like, what happened to them? And ultimately, somebody at the gym said they saw them still together in the city, just like out and about, I guess. So I guess they are still together. But then I run into the guy as
Oh
I'm going to
no.
get my hair cut. I'm waiting in like one of these like salon, like, the buildings that have all the like one-off salons. So I'm waiting in one of them for my person to be ready for me. He walks by and I'm like, oh. So we stop and I'm like, hey, how is everything? And I bring up his fiance and he kind of just like glosses over it. Doesn't have a wedding ring on, so it doesn't appear that they got married, but he like never mentions her name, doesn't say anything about her, but also does not say that like they're not together anymore. But it was so weird, and those groups and social media are crazy.
Mhm.
And then like a second time, I saw one of Frank's, not friends, but like acquaintances, my husband. I was like, your boy is on here. I was like,
There's
you know.
I do read those groups, but there is an app out there now. And ladies, I'm going to put you up on game now.
Oh, is it Discord? Discord?
Go to your app store and search the T app. And
Huh.
it is like I don't know if you can see it here, but you'll see like guys' profiles and little blurbs about them and all their red flags, those their name and their age. And you can like you download it. You have to prove that you're female before you join the app, because you cannot join as a man. And it took me 4 tries because fuck, we've got a little problem with transphobia there. But
Ugh.
I downloaded the app and literally you can look through your zip code and see all the guys that appear in there. It collates all their dating apps, and women will put red flags on them and they will tell exactly what's going on with them. I've seen some shit on this app. And you can also if you pay extra, they don't sponsor the show, but if you pay extra, you can sign up for the version that allows you to run background checks on men that you're thinking about
Hmm.
dating. So you women have tools out there now. I think it's a fantastic idea. And men, I work for Apple, and men call in, they hate this fucking app. They're like, you need to take that off your app store. People are using it to talk about men, blah blah blah. Okay, just don't be shitty. Yeah, just don't be shitty. It is the top of the hour. We are here with Hurricane Girls. You are listening to Hurricane Girls on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and currently on YouTube.com at Hurricane Girls. Will be on WHGR a little bit later tonight. So make sure to share the podcast with your friends, hit the like and subscribe button on all of our places. Go to patreon.com/Hurricane Girls. We are here tonight with Jenny Milien, formerly of the LFL and formerly of flag. I guess you're still with flag football, but also sister to our dearest Hurricane Sim, who is sitting here with us, smiling warmly and nervous that more information might be told later. We'll get to that. Hurricane Abby is with us, getting ready to release The Year of Dating Myself next month. And this is the end of the month, so very, very soon. Um, Go ahead, go to Amazon.com, reserve your copy. Barnes and Noble, wherever the fuck you buy books, go there. It is The Year of Dating Myself by Abby Rosemarin, where she talks about what it's like to date herself exclusively for a whole year, which means dressing up, getting made up, going out doing the things you would like to do on a date, but doing it with your fucking self and treating yourself like the goddamn queen that you're supposed to be. So read that book. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to learn. Next month, we're going to read portions from that book throughout the month just to get you familiar with it and just so you can get your little credit cards warmed up so you can go buy a copy. So I appreciate that that's going to happen next week. Hurricane Mary here with us, salty as ever, and I'm getting ready to get into the second half of the show here with Jenny. But first, it is Pride Month, and I do want to take a moment to talk about pride related things, LGBTQ related things, and I've picked a couple of things, throughout the month to talk about and focus on, and I have something similar this month. But first, I want to ask the question of the panel, like, have you seen any good transgender movies? Like movies that are about being trans? Can you think of any off the top of your head? This part on Spotify is where they're thinking very, very hard and coming up with no answers.
I
Right?
said no.
There are a few ones out there. There's Will and Harper, there's Trans America. There's that one with John Lithgow before he went over to the
Mhm.
dark side.
The world
Um,
according to Garp, right? Yep.
right, the world according to Garp. But I'm gonna spit one out at you that's a full-on transgender story that you probably wouldn't have thought of, but you've all seen it, probably. It's The Matrix.
Matrix, yep.
The Matrix, the Wachowski sisters. Then the Wachowski brothers, but now the Wachowski sisters created this movie. And yeah, I want if there are any men out there watching, any cis het white men, come in a little bit closer to the screen, okay? Because I'm about to have some church with y'all here. Because I just want to know. So y'all think that the Matrix movie with Keanu Reeves, America's boyfriend, is about men reclaiming their power? You think taking the red pill means yelling at women on YouTube until someone finally fucks you? You think you're Neo because you don't trust the government and you once read 12 rules for life? Sweetie, baby, sourdough starter with Wi-Fi, you did not take the red pill. You swallowed a Ben Shapiro suppository and mistook the burning for enlightenment. Let's get something very, very fucking clear. The Matrix is a transgender allegory. It was written by two closeted trans women who coded their pain, their joy, and their gender fuckery and their goddamn souls into every line of dialogue of that movie and every frame of slow motion trench-coated glory. It's not a metaphor for your fragile little balls or your fear of pronouns. Let's talk about Lana Wachowski. Lana was one half of the sibling genius duo that created The Matrix, and she was dealing with more gender crisis than a Southern Baptist youth pastor in a drag bar. In the late 90s, when the world thought transgender meant tabloid freak show or Jerry Springer's stunt casting, Lana was writing code into cinema. Literal code. She invented a metaphor so strong it went viral before being viral was a thing. And she did it while hiding who she really was from a world that would have rather set her on fire than to let her transition peacefully. And while you were wetting yourself over bullet time, Lana was dying inside in a male-coded body, directing a goddamn cultural reset in baggy jeans and press tour drag, knowing if she said one word about her identity, she'd be crucified in the industry and memed into oblivion. And when did she begin to transition? It was after the movie was out, and then the tabloids went full on sewer goblin. She couldn't walk outside without the press slapping her dead name across headlines like they'd caught Bigfoot with a new haircut. They called it scandalous, bizarre, secretive. Do you know what it really was? It was brave as fuck. Imagine being the mind behind one of the most iconic movies of all time, and all anyone wants to talk about is what's in your pants. That's his society in a nutshell. They'll worship your art, then weaponize your truth. And then comes Lily, like, hey, I'm also trans, fuck y'all. 2016, Lily Wachowski burst into the scene like, surprise, bitches, I'm trans too. And the internet collectively short-circuited. And at this point, conservative pundits started frothing because their favorite based sci-fi movie was now officially queer AF. And queer folks, well, we lost our shit. It was like finding out Batman was your trans aunt the whole time. Lily, in her coming out statement, basically said, yeah, the Matrix was always a trans allegory. You just didn't get it because you're basic. Except she was more eloquent because she's classy like that. But make no mistake, underneath her calm words was a fuck you with fangs. I can talk, a glittery, eloquent, eat my entire ass to the system that made her hide. The Wachowskis weren't making another gunfest for boys who never got hugged. They made a futurist queer gospel, bitch. Neo, that's a trans girl trying to wake up. Agent Smith, that's dysphoria, gatekeeping, capitalism, and your high school gym teacher all rolled into one. The Matrix, that's the closet. That's the assigned gender role. That's the polite smile you wear while you're screaming inside. And the red pill, that's not a gateway to hating women and refusing to wash your ass. It's HRT, baby. Estrogen, testosterone, name change paperwork. It's walking into your truth like you own the whole fucking world. You ever notice how in the movie Neo gets reborn hairless, breathless, blinking in horror and awe? That's a metaphor for waking up trans, not joining a fucking Discord server for men who think crying is for liberals. The red pill bro crowd stole a metaphor made by two trans women and used it to justify their dumb little internet cults. They took a story about breaking the binary and turned it into a reason to rage at baristas for putting oat milk in their lattes. They became what the Matrix was warning us about. Let's be honest, guys. If Neo were real, he'd block you. If Morpheus offered you the red pill, you'd cry about cancel culture and ask to speak to the manager. You are not the main character. You are not oppressed. You are not the hero of this story. You are the fucking simulation. You want the truth? The Matrix was written by two brilliant, closeted trans women screaming into the void, and instead of listening, you stole their scream and turned it into a man cave slogan. But we're taking it back. The Matrix is a trans fable. It's a story of breaking free, of shedding skin, of learning to fly. It's about the moment that your name finally fits. The first time you look in the mirror and think, holy fucking shit, that's me. It's about burning the binary to the fucking ground. So, if you're gonna quote The Matrix, guys, say Lana and Lily's names. Acknowledge their goddamn genius and wipe the Dorito dust off your fingers before you talk about fucking red pills again. You're not unplugged, you're buffering. Wake the fuck up. Happy Pride, everybody. Yes. So, yeah, that was
Okay,
my
but
little
Sheila,
rant for LGBTQ Pride. Yes. What's up?
can I just, you got me with coochie cutter last week or whatever. This week you got me with sourdough starter with Wi-Fi. That just that was excellent.
I mean, yeah, I have to do something to break you every week. That's necessary. But thank you all for letting me take over the segments this week, this month, and for celebrating Pride along with me. Some of us are in the rainbow community, some of us aren't. But the fact of the matter is, Hurricane Girls has always been intersectional, and I just appreciate, despite the fact that I run the show, I appreciate y'all letting me do it that way. So thank you very much. But we're back to fuckery again. We're talking tonight with Hurricane Jenny. Not that Jenny is fuckery, but you know, yeah, I'm sorry, words. Again, I spent all my words on that essay there. Um,
Listen, she's been known to engage in fuckery a time or two. I'm just saying. You don't want to get her riled
what?
up.
Well, I've heard that you engage in fuckery every once in a while, Miss Simi
I
Sim.
no idea what you're talking about.
And I am losing an internal bet with myself right now because I have seen Hurricane Morgan in the YouTube chats, and I was silently placing wagers in my head of when she would log in, but so far she has not. But no, you fuckery. I don't know, Sim. Like, what's the history with you and fuckery, Jenny? What
Oh,
could tell? We need some dirt on this woman here.
I'm about
Apart
as
from
boring as
running,
they come. I don't know what she's got that I don't
I
know
know,
about.
right? Like aside from running you over with her wheels,
Lies.
like, and she won't even acknowledge that. The nerve of this woman. So she was that good
I
of a
feel
big
like
sister?
oh yeah, she was an awesome big sister. She definitely had the protector role, and I feel like I transitioned into a protector persona as I got older, and definitely like took that don't mess with my sister mentality like over as I became an adult, where I did not appreciate people disrespecting my sister's space or her as a person. And I definitely had many instances where I felt that I needed to step up and be that protector because she was that person for me when I was little. So, but yeah, as far as all her fuckery goes, she probably hid that behind closed doors back in Carbondale. That's what I
Listen, that
assume.
was the 90s before the internet had, came about. So
God, if the internet had been around back then, the things it would have caught for me. Jesus Christ.
Listen, you have to understand. One of my favorite stories. And I told this at my sister's wedding because I think she's right. I think as she got older, I think we definitely kind of traded off into a mutual kind of protection of each other. Her definitely, she became more and more assertive and protective of me as time went on, as she kind of found her voice as an adult. And this my one of my favorite memories, and I like I said, I talked about this at her wedding. Was when she played college basketball. This is before LFL. She played basketball in high school and then went on in college to play basketball as well. And there were times where they would travel, and so we'd try and catch games if they were close to us. And so my husband and my daughter and I went to one of the games, and met my mom and my sister there. And the way the courts are, there's no good place for people using wheelchairs to really sit and see the game. Like I could sit at the end of like the bleachers, right? And I could see her when she was on one side of the court, but not the other. So I was like, well, screw this. There was a space like in the middle section, right in between the bleachers. I was like, all right, let me indent myself here. Let me park here. That way I'm in the middle and I can see her no matter which part of the court she's on, right? So I'm good. So I find my seat. My husband and my daughter are up there. And so I'm good, right? And 5 minutes later, this dude who I guess worked at the venue or whatever comes walking up and he says, I'm sorry, ma'am, you can't sit here. And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, you're gonna be in the line of, like the basketball and the players, and you could get hurt. And I said, with all due respect, I get that. I get that, but there's also no good designated area for people with wheelchairs. So, I'm not like on the court where I was at. I was not on the court. I was still like, I'm no different than if somebody was sitting, on the bleachers, like with their feet, forward, like I'm not taking up any more space than they would be. I'm not moving. So this exchange takes a couple minutes. He was fine. He didn't get like out of pocket or anything, but he kept trying to get me to move and whatever. So 5, maybe 8 minutes of this exchange, and he goes on his way and leaves me there, and it's fine. So we proceed to watch the game and da da da. Gentleman comes back at halftime and he says, is your sister Jenny Kraus? That's her maiden name at the time. I said, yeah. Why? Because I was like, he goes, she loves you a lot. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I know, but what do you mean? Well, she had basically seen this individual approach me, and just from our body language, and inferred that I was getting hassled. So she told her coach, her basketball coach, in no uncertain terms, that game was not starting until she took care of the situation. She did not care. And the coach was like, Jenny, like 2 minutes till the game starts. And Jenny's like, don't care. Like, if he doesn't back off of her, I'm going to go handle business. Like, I'm just letting you know. And this guy's telling me that. I'm like, yeah. He's like, he goes, so if you could let her know. He goes, so if you could let her know that we're good. And then I'm like, I got you. I said, we're fine. And he goes off and does his thing. And it was just like, but that's who she's always been, as she's, especially as she's gotten older, is that she's always had my back and always been very, very protective of me. And, I think we've had, we're siblings, so many of times we have minor disagreements here and there. But I mean, we've literally said to each other, it's like, we could argue, but we'll burn down the world to get to each other and protect each other. Like, that's
Right.
not, there's no question.
Right. It's like I'll fuck with you all day long, but somebody else fucks with you.
Right.
Right. No. And you had like
It's like
5 minutes
It's
to be
like
the big
Gavin
sister.
Newsom. Gavin
Right.
Newsom's not great, but he hates Republicans more.
Honestly, yeah. He's a little problematic for my people, but yeah, like what else are
Yeah,
you
he's
gonna
not
do?
great.
Right.
Yeah. Same.
I, I
But
was
he doesn't like other people messing with the people that he wants to mess with. Like,
that's fair. Yeah. I was thinking, Sim, you were a big sister for like what, 5 minutes? Because Jenny's like 5'9". Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
outgrew me pretty quick. So she's taller than me. She's taller than my mom. She's not taller than her dad. She definitely gets it from her dad because Gina's what, 6'2", I think.
yeah, I think so.
So yeah, she definitely takes after her dad. My dad was, I want to say like 5'10". So like I got short. I got my mom's genes as far as that goes. I was doomed to be a short person.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that's because that's all the announcers were saying on that LFL clip that I saw is like 5'9", soft hands, 5'9". Yeah, make space. Yeah, and like yeah, I've always been the tallest one of mine because out of being the one trans daughter out of four daughters, I was always taller. But my child grew an inch between weekends. 5'6" to 5'5" to 5'6" overnight. And I'm like, ugh,
Ugh.
gosh, she'll be towering right around you, Abby, I think. Because yeah, they don't make them short on the Chappelle side of the family. Um, but yeah, it's
Abby, how tall are
fucking.
you?
Well, for the longest time I was 5'10", but that beautiful thing about aging, the last time I went to the doctors, I was actually 5'9¾", so the spinal compression has begun.
Love it. So yeah, it's like I don't know what height I am right now. The last time I measured, which was years ago, was 6 foot. So
You're
I'm
tall.
assuming, yeah, I'm gonna assume
You're tall.
that. Well, yeah, I'm tall next to the salty one down here. Yeah.
You gotta
Um,
tiptoe to like hug you for fuck's sake.
that the problem with me is I wear the platform boots, so I end up being 6'4".
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would die.
Yeah, goddamn goth girl over here already tall as shit and putting on the taller boots. Like that's why I don't wear heels that much. Like number one, I cannot walk in heels. Period. I can't do it. I will
Neither
break
can
my
I for
ass.
some reason. I don't know. I never mastered that.
Can you put a little lift on your wheels there?
I tried and it just doesn't work for some reason.
We just got to get you airborne. That's all.
Listen, bad things happen if I get airborne. Bad things happen,
We can put a ramp down at the end of the hill.
right?
There you
And I'm
go.
fine until the end. It's that sudden stop at the end that, is not good.
You know what that's exactly the thing too because I treat Sim like a sister too. Like I'll joke with her all day about finding a set of stairs to push her down, but if somebody actually were to come try to push her down some stairs, oh hell no. There it would be consequences and repercussions, slow singing, flower bringing. Like no, don't fuck with my sisters. I do the same for all y'all though too. I have a feeling that Jenny could hold her own though. Like you just look like
Yeah.
someone who could hold your own. Do you do like any like mixed martial arts or anything like that?
No, so now everything's kind of just I go to the gym and I do a mix of like weight training. I actually like to run. I only like to run on the treadmill because every time I run outside, I get an injury. So for the most part,
Mm.
I have never dabbled in any sort of like jujitsu or karate or taekwondo, none of those. Though they actually have a jujitsu like part of our gym, like it is incorporated within the gym and it's very popular. I just have never actually given it a go, but it is
Mary and I
something we've
were
talked about for like for our kids.
Mary and
That
I
was
were
my
talking
least
about
favorite.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my least favorite. I hated BJJ, but I taught the Little Ninjas class, and we studied 7 different arts, and BJJ was my least favorite because once a guy got the upper hand, I was done because They would
Yeah.
just fat on me. And if I let them get me on my back, it was all done. But that's why you don't let them get you on your back. Still hated it. I liked Muay
Mary,
Thai.
Mary and I were talking about this in the calm before the storm, which, by the way, for y'all out there, that's Mary's TikTok live that she always does before the show on Tuesdays. But we were talking about this. We were talking about running and how my ADHD fucks with me so hard when I'm trying to run. Like I can't do a treadmill. Although you're right, every time you go outside, you get injured. But for me, the treadmill, my ADHD cannot because I'm like, I need to see like different trees or anything. I can't running in place fucking wears me out. Um, but you to
I
your point
definitely
there,
have like a podcast. I don't do music if I'm just doing like a
oh
long run.
no.
Then I specifically do like podcast, something where I'm like listening to a story. Because if I do songs,
Mhm.
I'm like, well, songs are anywhere between like 3 and 4 minutes. So I like start calculating like, all right, this song's gonna be 3 minutes. I've still got like 10 songs left, and then it turns
Oh,
into this like mind game of overthinking it versus like just listening to one like a story.
th that is exactly what goes on in my brain to the T. It's like I'll be like, okay, this Def Leppard song is like 5 minutes long, and in here this K-pop song is like 2 minutes, and like how much longer do I have to do this? Oh my God, can it end? But like I did get my worst injury ever when running outside because
Mm-hmm.
I had found my this was a small state park, but I had found my favorite nature trail ever. Ran past a river. There's waterfalls, beautiful scenery. Turns out that you're supposed to not look at all that shit while you're running because you'll, especially when it's raining, because you'll probably find a tree root and your foot will be momentarily upside down. So
Yep.
I injured myself to the point of being unable to run for about 8 months. And that was kind of the end of my cross country career. But like, yeah, no, but I can't do it on a treadmill. I cannot. I have an elliptical machine back there that has not been used one time because I will turn on the TV and it will be like, you know what? I'll watch a TV show while I'm doing it, but it turns back into the same thing. I'm like, okay, this TV show is 25 minutes long. How much? I'm clicking the remote to see how much more time I have left.
Oh.
Ugh. And it'd be like, surely it's almost over. Fuck, I'm only 5 minutes into the show. Ugh. But I appreciate those that can do it because you have been like I've seen your videos, of course, when you were younger, but you look like you've stayed in great shape this whole time, which is fantastic. You're
No,
And we've
it's
been really, go ahead.
no. You go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I also am in a very, like, fortunate circumstance. I do work remotely, and my kids are in daycare, and I have the flexibility to, like, schedule it fairly easily into my day. And it is at this point just become, I mean, such a routine in my, like, daily life that even, I mean, I was up in Michigan for my high school reunion, and I went to cardio drumming class with my friend Kristen. And I'm always like, I don't care what the exercise is, like movement is movement. So she was like, you want to do cardio drumming? And I was like, sure, like, let's give it a go. And it was so fun, like super fun. So I think I've just found ways to like just keep it entertaining, and like even though I'm not necessarily training for anything, I'm like I find little things here and there to like set small goals to like keep me motivated, and the aesthetics are kind of like the added bonus. Right now I'm working on my running. That is my focus.
it's got to be discipline because I don't have it. Uh, I I just don't.
She's always
I
had
lack that.
discipline. It's disgusting. She's always had it ever since she was a kid. I mean, it's discipline combined with, I think, competitiveness. You know, I think that she's always been very driven, which is one of the qualities I admire about her. One of the many things I admire.
So there's a 600-pound club at our gym. So it's basically squat, bench, deadlift, and women to be on the board have to beat 600 pounds. For the men, it's 1,000 pounds. And there's only one woman in our gym that's on it. And so now I have like talked to Frank about it, like whether or not I want to give it a go, because two of my lifts, I think I could like finagle some extra pounds out of it, and one of them I'm not so sure. But yeah, the competitiveness, the fact that there's only one other person on there representing the women at the gym, I'm like, I should be on there. I think I should have a place on that. So I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna like redirect my training to that. And I say training, and I hodgepodge my workouts. I do not go in with a plan. I had to use ChatGPT to design me a running plan just so I would have some semblance of order in the chaos of me going to the gym. But honestly, like most days, I'm like, I'm just going to pick a section of my body that doesn't hurt as much as the others. And that's what we're going to do that day.
Yeah, we live in that era where we don't have to hire physical trainers anymore, because like you said, you can just ask ChatGPT to draw from the vast pre-2024 knowledge of the universe, and it will put it right there for you. It will
Mm-hmm.
write your work resumes. It'll do, like, it'll answer questions for you. Like if I don't know who a certain person was, or what's happened on a certain date, I can just ask ChatGPT and boop, it's there. Because the internet wasn't easy enough, apparently. Like apparently we
Right.
needed to have it just dropped into our mouths like a little
Interpret
baby
the
bird.
internet. Yeah.
Right. Like we
I
just
need
needed
not
to
just
have
the
it.
internet, but an interpretation of the internet.
Right. Just have it chewed up and spat into our mouths. And this is, yeah, that was for you, Mary. Next time have a drink. But what are you doing now? Like we've talked about your past here. What are you up to these days, Jenny?
So now I am in the full throes of the government contracting space. It is not glamorous. But it is in the thick of dealing with the current administration and the effects of the political climate. So when I was bartending, I met the CEO of a company and basically said I would like to not be bartending anymore. And he was looking for someone to help with his like recruiting, basically like finding people for their contracts. And I was like, I would like to do that. I don't know what that is, but okay. I knew nothing about our government. I knew nothing about the defense space, but ultimately like really ended up enjoying it and kind of turning it into a career that I've found really works for me. So now I am doing the government contracting, like doing recruiting, leading a team out here, helping on the side, like people that may need some additional insight on their resumes or on the job market or how to search for jobs. And so that is what I'm doing from like a professional standpoint. Otherwise, I mean, I've got the two little ones and really like basically designating all non-work time to trying to give them like the most fun childhood in this chaotic world that I possibly can. Because, I mean, if we're going to keep blasting off bombs on people, who knows how long we've got. So I got to make sure they've got a great childhood. So
it's scary,
yeah,
honestly. And when you
yeah,
have,
definitely.
especially when you have an actual toddler dropping the bombs.
Yeah,
I mean, just
exactly.
literally, I'm mad that you didn't come to my birthday parade. Fuck. I mean, drop
Dropped a
bombs over
little F
here.
bomb this morning too on the news. I was like, oh, that's
You did
lovely.
look okay, you're only 3 years older than me, right? So when you and I were coming up, if our
Mm.
parents would have heard Ronald Reagan, George Bush, um, God help him, Bill Clinton, if they had ever dropped an F-bomb on air, they our parental units, our baby boomer motherfuckers would have lost their ever loving shit over it. And now it's like the president and I don't like I'm fucking into the swearing. I love swearing. I live for swearing. But I'm just sitting here thinking, how the shit is this guy getting away with it with these Christian conservatives? Like he's God's chosen
Right.
person dropping F-bombs up there. Like I was not allowed to be I wasn't allowed to be the firstborn child and drop an F-bomb.
I
Like
mean, it used to be back when we've had other presidents, and not even that long ago. You know, the F bomb saying fuck would be like a hot mic thing. Oh my God, so and so was caught on a hot mic situation where they didn't know their mic was on and they said fuck, and it would be all over the news. And now we have a president who just says the quiet part out loud, and everybody's like, okay, and like they gloss over
not
it like
only that, but we love him.
right.
We love him. Let me put my little ugly red hat on. We love him. Like what the I have two words for that. Tan suit.
You're right.
Oh
Tan
Right.
yeah, the Obama
suit.
stand suit.
Yeah, the tan
Yes.
suit was just it was in the news for a week. It was dumb.
Like non-unpresidential.
Right.
Unpresidential for him to have tan skin, I mean suit,
Right. Right.
basically. That's what that came down to. Let's be for fucking real. It came down to the fact that Obama was brown and not a suit.
Right.
But that just drives me crazy. It's like, I've got I've got kids. I've got now three 13-year-olds, and I've got Hermie, Drew, and Evan, and they're all trying to come. They're all right there on the cusp of teenagehood. They're gonna be adults in fucking 5 years. What? And I this is the world that my contemporaries have left them with, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to, remind our kids as they're old enough to, to teach them that this what we're living through right now is not normal. The president that we have right now and the way the administration is running is not normal. Like granted, it wasn't perfect when Obama was in office or when Biden was in office, but we've reached a different kind of level of things that's not normal politically in terms of how these things are going on, and we have so many different things going on in all the different offices, the branches of government right now that are playing against each other. It's
Mhm.
insane, you know.
The fact that we've got a governor over here looking at a president over there and being like, "Come at me, bro." Like it's fucking celebrity death match
Right.
here. I'm like, like
Right.
literally senators getting dragged out of the Senate chamber and being put in handcuffs. That yeah, this shit ain't stuff that I saw growing up. And maybe I was just blind, but and also I do love the fact that I was in at least 95% of the election ads because Kamala is for they them, not for you. I'm so dangerous. I felt so dangerous during that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I'm gonna barge into your fucking bathroom.
Right.
I'm gonna play football while I'm in there. I'm gonna like and and I don't know, something
Right.
transgender, something
You're
you're a
gonna cause
man.
fuckery of some sort.
Yeah. It's a little bit I've gotten so numb to it now.
Yeah.
Like I want to say I've gotten so numb to it because like people calling up to me, I've been transitioning since I was in my mid 40s. I'm 48 now, so 2020 it would have been, 4 or 5 years younger when I started. I don't have this response. Like we've had this whole thing with Lily Tino on TikTok right now, where it's like her whole thing is she goes out to eat and the wait staff calls her sir because she's fucking trans, but she just doesn't do anything about it to make it seem like I'm sorry, I'm gonna get in trouble with my whole community here, but fuck. Her whole thing is like, you called me sir, it's like a dagger to the heart. Like,
Right,
I hear somebody call me sir, and I'm like,
right,
fuck you. I'm not gonna see you 5 minutes from now. You're
right.
gonna disappear from existence in a couple of minutes. Like, why am I gonna waste my day over it? But yeah,
Exactly.
to your point,
Exactly.
I like to raise my kids to be as happy as they can before this world becomes a shit fuck for them. So, well, we're on a high note here at this point of the show here. Like, do y'all have like I feel like Mary or Abby might have some things they want to know about either Jenny or Sam here. So, what are you thinking, girls? What do we need to know about this blonde-haired bitch over here?
I mean, I would only be able to throw the softball questions. Like, I want to just hear more about, some wonderful dynamics, especially given the immense age range and how, big sis is closing in on almost like auntie levels of age, if you will.
Um, I think um I don't know. Rephrase that question. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Uh, well, given that you were basically almost coming into adulthood on when all of a sudden you had a baby sister, that
Oh,
there's such a difference in a dynamic than say a 4-year difference or a 2-year
sure,
difference.
sure.
And just I don't know, I'd love to hear some heartwarming stories about that as my pussy cries in the background. Hold on. Yeah, you.
Yeah, Abby's paid the pet tax. I saw Jenny pay the pet tax earlier. The cat walked across the screen.
The
The
cat
rest of
walked.
you are
Yep.
slacking. Let's pull the pussies out,
I'm
honestly.
so sorry.
But yeah,
I'm in my bathroom and the door is closed, so no pussies are coming in here. I'm
so
still actually rapidly trying to figure out how to charge my iPad right now because it's not wanting to charge. So if I die suddenly, I'll figure that
we know
out.
where to
But
send the
Don't die
flowers.
suddenly.
right. I think yeah, I think when I was 14 and like I said, I was a teenager trying to figure out what responsibility looked like. And, I think in the beginning, I think our mom was very hesitant to let me hold her
Mhm.
because I was 14, and so it was like mom was very hesitant to put my fragile little sister in my arms. And I think it actually took a couple months and our grandfather to kind of nudge our mom into saying, no, you gotta let her hold her little sister. And the second I was able to do that, I just fell in love. I mean, I was in love with her before that. I mean, I remember going to the hospital when she was born and just she was the most perfect thing I'd ever seen, you know, um, at that point. And, it's a different thing when you have a sibling and there's this different part of you that's accessed. When, like, for me, it was like in that moment, I was like, I will do anything I need to do to make sure she's happy, and she grows up knowing she's loved, you know. Um,
Swear y'all get along so well. I'm getting a cavity.
no, like I said, we have the occasional kind of, but it's never been, I mean,
I
I don't
love it.
recall any deep chasm kind of conflicts. I mean, I think we have normal sibling stuff. I don't know, Jenny, do you remember anything that we had huge arguments about?
Mm, no, I think the arguments that we had when probably like my preteen into teen years were not necessarily things that we argued about. I don't want to say like because of me or because of you, but I
Mm,
think there were things in the difference of the space that I grew up in, and you kind of touched on it when you talked about like the environment you grew up in versus the environment that I grew up in,
Right.
were very different. Just different dynamics. Our mom was a doctor by the time I was 5, or she was in residency when I was born. So I think she like was actually like certified and practicing as a doctor by the time I was maybe like 1 or 2. And
Right.
it just afforded a much different relationship with our mom. It afforded, I had a different relationship with my dad than you had with your dad. And obviously the dynamic of the relationship our mom had with my dad versus your dad. I think all of that was something that came up in its own way periodically, like throughout the years. That it wasn't necessarily anything that Alana held against me or that I held against her. It was something that it was very apparent that it was very different. And I think sometimes that caused a little bit of not a rift, but like just something to call attention to. There was just some differences that I think every now and then it just bubbled up to the surface and kind of came out between us, even though it wasn't necessarily an us thing.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I obviously love to see this love between sisters here. I have a relationship with one of my 3 sisters, so to see us sisters get along this well, especially with the age difference, I mean, it just seems so heartfelt and warm, and I love it. And as much as I've tried to poke, I can't get one piece of dirt on our dear old Cimarron here. What
I
the
paid
fuck?
her handsomely prior to the
Yes.
podcast. There
Yes.
was an exchange of monetary value.
I will tell you, Jenny, and at the same time say thank you for allowing us to borrow your sister so much, and I feel she is a sister to me in many many ways. We talk every day, and we like if I am feeling some kind of way, like I was earlier today. I like these 3 in here are going to be the first ones I go to, and then Sim is probably going to be number 1 because she's always got something to say that's going to be both helpful and challenging at the same time. And that last part can be annoying, but like I always know that if I need something, I can go to her, and that she's going to be that big sister. And now know where she got the practice doing that is from you. And she's always very much she's a feeler, a thinker, and she every now and again wears her heart on her sleeve. But like I can tell that nurturing just comes second nature. And my kids, my daughter Hermie especially, just looks up to Sim so much and listens to what she says and takes that and put it to heart. And I'm going to make her cry before the end of the
I was
show.
literally just going to say,
Yeah,
don't bring up Hermie again, because
yeah.
that'll just get me going.
And literally, I hear my daughter saying the same words that Sim has said, and I'm like, I know where you got that from. And I hear that like my oldest daughter, Brittany, like that's the first person she turns to. And she's become just a not just a professional therapist, but also a therapist that helps our whole entire community. Um, which is hard. That's a hard thing to ask for as a trans woman. It's a hard thing to locate. Um, so yeah, this is the part where we make our little Simmy Sim, our little Ilana turn
Look,
red right here. Yeah.
breaking out the government name. I see how you are.
Well,
No,
hey,
you have to
it's
understand
in
though. You have
here.
to understand that yes, there's pros and cons to being a feeler, right? One of the great things that I admire about my sister that um she has a great ability to look at things more analytically. And I feel like that's where we complement each other in our relationship. If I'm getting too much in my feelings about things and, connected too much about things, when I talk to her and I'm venting to her, she's like, look, what you really need to do is da 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 da. And she lays it out. And what I love about that is like she's like straight about it. Like she doesn't mix words. She's like, I don't know about all that, and she breaks it down in such a very straightforward, like analytical way. Whereas I'm definitely like, talking, and I'm not saying she doesn't feel, because obviously she feels like great, great things, but she doesn't lead with her emotions, I think, in the ways that I do. And so I count on that to balance me out sometimes when I'm like, all right, I'm way too much in my feelings about this. I need some objectivity. Like she'll be the one I call. To say, okay, I'm about to lose my shit, you know, and that always helps.
Usually on our mom.
Get right, exactly. That's always the great thing. Like that's, one of the things when we talk about like enjoy having a younger sibling, like even though we didn't have like a lot of shared experiences growing up, there's a lot of times now she and I will have conversations about like approaches about typical parent stuff, typical, moms, our parents said this, our parents said that, and it's like, and we'll bond together over that. So I mean, even though we didn't have a lot of that early in the life, I think we definitely caught up on that as time went on. We had a number of, we have plenty of shared experiences where it's like we get each other, you know, um, and we get our family dynamic. I think, there's times Jennifer and I will have conversations about some of our family that doesn't necessarily, let's say, see things the way we do, and we'll have good talks about that, and and commiserate together over that. So it's a very nice thing to have that.
Well, we're getting here towards the end of the show, and we are at the time where we give our final thoughts, our aftermath, if you will, of the storm. So I am going to start tonight, as she so loves me to do, with Hurricane Mary, and get your final thoughts of the evening.
Okay, first the feels, then the salt. Because,
As one does.
well, yeah, but Sim has brought things to my life, and just like you have, that I never had. Like I am the eldest of three kids, but I don't have siblings. And like Sim has become an auntie to my kids, and I think it was to Karen that she had sent something like instant family, just add water, because now they have aunties that they can turn to, that they trust and that I trust. So thank you for that. Now the salt. And it's kind of adjacent to what we were talking about with the football league. So I wrote this down because I was just so pissed off. So all right. So it's kind of adjacent, like I said. It's probably also going to come across as a little preachy, but this time I've been telling myself I don't care. So I don't care.
All right, that's progress.
Let's drop it like it's
But
hot, baby. Let's go.
okay, so God damn it, can we stop giving a shit about women choosing to do things that are considered objectifying, including their careers? As long as they're not being coerced, forced, the job is valid. The job is valid and valuable. And yes, that includes sex work. Vilifying the shit is the literal reason it's objectification. It's the same thing we talked about last week. Instead of guilting women for enjoying and celebrating our own bodies, we should be guilting men to not start football leagues just to jerk off.
I love it.
Okay, that's it.
Absolutely. Yep.
I love it. Perfect. Yeah, I was having salt deficiency, and I am all set now.
That was a proper sodium intake right there.
Yes,
Love
yes, it
that.
is. And now that we are all refreshed, Abby, your final thoughts for the night.
My final thoughts, and I say this as somebody who actually has three older half siblings, substantial age difference. There's 20 years about. I don't talk to any of them anymore for various, basically the same reasons. it with that as my background, it's very heartwarming to get to just enjoy the last 2 hours of this dynamic that is on the polar opposite end of mine with my older half siblings. And it's very heartwarming. And this is my part to add in the feels. Sadly, it is sodium free. It's probably because I'm just so exhausted that I'm depleted of my electrolytes right now. But Sim is very much the heart of this community, and I will attest to just how wonderful and caring and empathetic, and just generally amazing she is. And I do not know where we would be without our resident therapist.
Right. And that's said as a up and coming therapist as well. So I love that.
And the way
Well,
she has been there for me as that therapist in training has been very lovely too.
Thank you.
very, very true. So, Sim, naturally, it is time for your final thoughts.
Um, you know, I am feel very blessed that, with my sister's busy schedule of work and raising two kids and managing to just find time for, family, that she was kind enough to set aside time tonight for this. I feel very grateful. Um, but that's always been who she is. Um, she works hard to make sure that we stay in touch, not just she and I, but with her kids. Even though we live far away from each other, we do FaceTime. She has pictures of all the family, everybody in the family on the walls, so they all know and recognize us even from a young age. And I just feel lucky to have her in my life because she's the real deal.
I love that. And as the guest of honor here tonight, the wonderful Hurricane Jenny, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you all inviting me on and giving me the opportunity to talk with everybody and share a little bit of background about myself, some of my experiences with my sister, and a little bit more about her. I wish I had more tea. I'm sure I'll think of some after the fact, and I'll reach out
Just text
separately. You
me.
guys
I'll
can
make
put in
sure it gets
a couple
publicized.
anecdotes
Oh shit.
over the next couple of episodes. You guys can just
Shit.
shed those in there. Like I heard from your sister about such and
Oh
such,
God.
and yeah, make it an after the fact entertainment piece. But no, I really appreciate it. I'm really like honored to see the impact that she has had in this community and that she has a community like you all to be a part of. I know that she works really hard. She works really hard at her job, at being a parent to an angsty 24-year-old. And so having this, it's nice for me to know that she has this community to be a part of, and that you guys value her as much as we do as her family, her other family. We'll be the other family from now on.
Mm,
So it's just really great to see what kind of impact she is having and you guys are having on her. And I appreciate being a part of that.
I'm glad to have you here today. Get to know our Simi Sim a little bit better. And I think since I get to do final thoughts last, that's always host privilege, I guess. But um, just I know that everybody who comes into contact with the show comes into contact with the show for some sort of cosmetic karmic reason. There's not a one of us on the panel tonight who didn't desperately need this community when it found us. And Sim's no exception. Sim, I got to know Sim when she was still very deep in grief and mourning and going through those things, which I'm not going to get into very much because I haven't made her cry yet. I'm not going to start
Mm.
with 2 minutes left to go, but just the fact that she needed us. She made me cry the first time. Just so you know. Like right one of the first few times that I talked to her, she got on my TikTok live and was like, "Hey, let's talk about childhood as a transgender youth." And she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry, Sheila." And I'm like, "Fuck you, Sim. You healed me." But it was just knowing that she was just like, "I'm here. I'm a presence. I am something that you need to be something that you need to be in your life." And she's been undeniable ever since then. And while I have to remind her every once in a while to take care of herself as well as us, she has taken care of us in many, many, many ways. And I fucking told y'all, here is Hurricane Morgan coming into the show
God
last
damn it.
minute.
You're a
Yes.
little late, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know I got this. Look at this. Everybody look at this. McGraw Hill International Business. And the first, and literally as soon as I log in, curse words. And my mom was probably like, what in the world?
Sorry. Morgan, it's good to have you in here for the last few seconds, but we are getting ready to close out the show. Sim, we love you. Jenny, thank you so much for being a part of our show and a part of our lives now. And you are now and forevermore a Hurricane Girl. We are here. We are the daughters of darkness, sisters of
Oh,
rage. We
Lord.
are the goddesses cursed upon of mediocre men and nature's happy little accidents. And coming up on the show in the next few months, we're having Miss Andrea, Miss Emily. We're gonna have the Gold Steps, Betty Moritz from the Gold Steps. We're gonna have Millionaire Melly. We'll have most likely North Omaha Cat Lady, Renee Bell from Gilmore Girls. Next week, the year of dating myself, it's at Abby Palooza. We're going to be celebrating our own dear Abby Rosemarin all month next month. And go out and pre-order your copy of The Year of Dating Myself. And go to Mary's Etsy shop, by the way. Pick up a calendar. Women make history too. And as of right now, though,
Better, better.
better. Women make history better. Yes. Sorry. Um, And with that, I think I'm out of words for the night. So for Hurricane Morgan, Hurricane Abby, Hurricane Mary, Hurricane Sim, and Hurricane Jenny, I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, the Category 5 Hurricane Girl, saying good night and chin up, tits out, ladies. We're gonna leave tonight
I
with
had to get some chicken.
We're going to leave tonight with a track from an upcoming band on our show. This is Gold Steps with Narcissist.
Darling, oh, you crossed a line. Should have stuck to small crimes, like stealing time, not wasting mine. And it's opened my eyes. Master of misogyny, mark me as a drama queen, negating every single ounce of credibility. Power rest.